Founder of Power with our president, Mr. Robert Styler here. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing great.
So we'll give everybody else another minute to just hop on the line and settle in for the experience that we're about to have. But Rob, I know you wanted to say a few words before we kick off. So feel free to do that now.
Absolutely. I just wanted to say this is a really special day for me. And a decade ago, a small band of us, we launched the first residential solar lease company in the United States. Okay, this was before Solar City, before Sunrun, and sales exploded. We did 38,000 customers, signed contracts, but the solar industry in 2006 was not ready for this type of growth. But we proved two things. First off, we showed people wanted the solar lease. Then we showed direct sales works for solar. Now, fast forward 8 years, I get a call from Jager Shah, who founded Sun Edison. He says, Rob, you read my book. We need to get $10 trillion in clean tech products and services to the market in the next decade. It won't happen through traditional channels. You should build a company. So I started this process, and along the journey, I kept hearing about Jonathan Budd. I kept hearing about this guy that was creating this solar vision and what he was doing. And we had some conversations, and it was funny because he had a similar history, just on a much bigger scale. In his prior company, he put 1 million people in the company in 78 days. Now, think about that for a second. 78 days, 1 million people joined, and the company just couldn't handle that kind of growth. So when we went looking to find our solar partner, our biggest concern was, can they scale with us? Okay, Solar City is currently doing 20,000 solar homes a month. They're a $5.8 billion company. Jonathan and the team have been developing the back office for 19 months, preparing for you. And I am so honored to be in partnership with Jonathan, to be working with him. He's the founder and CEO. I'm the co-founder and president. And I'm 51 years old. I've been searching for a partner like Jonathan Budd my whole life. Somebody who's got the heart space, he's got the talent, he's got the vision, he's got the guts to roll the dice and put his whole family fortune into launching a company, because it's not just about him making money, it's about shifting our economy. And what I'm going to do is pass it over to him, because he's going to lay out the vision of what we're creating here. It's all yours, Jonathan.
Mr. Styler, I love you, my friend. It is fantastic to be on this call with you. And it is fantastic to be on this call with everybody else. I know that we probably have a diverse group of people currently checking in. And the intention for tonight is to really show what we've been working on for the last, I honestly lose track of time. It turns out it's 21 months. I was wrong in our copy for the webinar. This has been 21 months in the making. And as you see the Power story tonight and what it is we've put together, I believe that you're going to witness and capture one of the most epic possibilities that has ever been before any of us. This is literally nothing less than playing a role in shifting the world off of dirty energy and onto a completely new clean energy paradigm. And we don't need any new technology for this. The technology exists right now. What is needed is us. What is needed is distribution. Over the next decade, we are literally going to watch the world shift in a massive way from an era that was fueled by fossil fuels and coal and oil and gas into a brand new era of clean solar energy. And it's happening right now. And tonight's presentation will show you what that is making possible. Because it's really, truthfully, going to be nothing short of a brand new world for all of us to live in. And even just as exciting, you know, there are billions and billions of dollars that are going to change hands as the world shifts from fossil fuels to renewable energy. And as you will see tonight, we all could not be in better timing for this. Like, literally could not be in better timing. and you'll see exactly why. So before we get in, one final thing I'll say before we just dive right into the presentation is that you've been invited here by a very small group of people. Where Powur is currently at in our process of launching our company is we've spent an enormous amount of time, money, resources, really laying a foundation, such as Rob was describing, which would allow our company to scale. So that when we really open the doors, there's absolutely nothing stopping us from scaling to what our vision is and what our goal is, which is millions of homes over the next decade that we've helped put on solar. And if you really understand the model that we're inside of right now, we're using a direct sales model, and I think as you'll see tonight, we've innovated in a lot of ways the direct selling model. But even if you just look at the model, anytime a new category is created inside of direct sales, and the last one to be created was the deregulated energy market, okay? Companies like Ambit Energy and Ignite Energy and many more were some of the first companies to enter the direct selling industry in the deregulated energy market. And if you fast forward today, that was 8 years ago. If you fast forward today, those are some of the most successful companies in direct selling in the world. They've put millions and millions and millions of customers on deregulated energy contracts and generated billions and billions of dollars for the people who help do that. So anytime a new category exists inside of direct selling, there's enormous opportunity, enormous potential. And what I see right now is that we are on the forefront of a brand new category inside of our industry, which is really the renewable energy category. And if you really get the macro trends and you understand that the whole world is shifting over the next decade from fossil fuels to renewable energy, and then you really get that we're the first company really planting ourselves at the forefront of this brand new category of energy, you'll see that the opportunity here is millions and millions and millions of customers flowing through all of our businesses over the next decade. So financially, that's billions of dollars in wealth that could shift back to the hands of the people who play a role in distribution. And then from a purpose perspective, I just couldn't imagine a better business. Every single time we put solar on someone's roof, we're making one of the biggest differences we could possibly make for all future generations. So keep that in mind, because that's why Powur has spent 21 months building this foundation. It's why we partnered with the #1 solar company in the world, which is founded by Elon Musk and his cousins Lyndon and Peter Rive, which, as Robert said, is a $5.8 billion company and is currently doing close to 20,000 installations a month. We have the ability to scale. We have the ability to truly go and put America on solar, and that is an exciting prospect. So, my friends, without further ado, welcome to Powur's first ever live presentation, and we hope you enjoy the show here tonight. So I'm going to dive right in, and I might have to play with this Prezi. This is the first time we're ever doing this Prezi. The team's been working hard on it, so forgive us if there's some learning curves, but here we go. We're putting solar panels in 2 million homes by 2025, and we'll pay you $1 billion to help us do it. Now, it's no surprise to everyone that we've been living in an era of dirty energy. And inside this era of dirty energy, the profit and the power is centralized in the hands of the few. And unfortunately, it's at the expense of the many and our entire ecosystem. And I think if you just look at a few of these images and really grasp what the costs are to the world for how we are currently producing energy, any logical human being will arrive at the conclusion that this cannot be our future, that the human species is capable of so much more than this. We can do better. We can do better than what we're currently looking at, and that's the God's honest truth. We can do better, and not only can we do better, but we must do better because our future children and grandchildren and all the generations to come are counting on us to do better. And it's important that we all understand first and foremost that that is why power exists. And we're not the only ones who are really calling for a new era of energy, a new era for how the world powers itself. The entire world is up in arms right now. Massive action is being taken to shift away from dirty energy. The scientists have spoken, governments have spoken, business has spoken. There's a very small group of people that is highly incentivized to dig every last drop of coal and oil and gas they can find in the ground out and burn it. And, if that actually happens, then there's no doubt that the planet is on a crash course of which we don't know if we can recover from or if what's going to happen, really. So massive action is being taken to shift away from dirty energy. The first thing that people are doing, governments around the world are really now starting to set major emission targets. You've seen the United States and China, broker a landmark deal where for the first time in ever, the two biggest, carbon polluting nations on the planet have agreed to meet certain emission targets by 2030. You've seen all sorts of promotion of cleaner versions of fossil fuels and how do we get to cleaner versions of fossil fuels and lower our emissions and all these types of things. And you've also seen these massive, statewide renewable mandates and sometimes even countrywide renewable mandates. California Governor Jerry Brown, really leading the state with his recent 50% renewable targets by 2030. All of the state's energy, 50% have to come renewable. So there's massive action being taken to shift the planet away from dirty energy. But let's explore that a little bit. The emission targets, how's it actually doing? Oh boy. Come on, Prezi. Get out of my way. Well, for starters, the U.S. is failing to cut carbon emissions fast enough. That's, a given almost. Germany is even retreating from their 2020 targets. Canada is failing to meet their emissions cuts. Countries all over the world, Australia is failing to meet its emission cuts. Scotland failed to meet. UK failed to meet. All over the world, these quote-unquote emission targets are being missed. So what the heck good is a target if you don't hit it? And all it takes is a little stroll over to NASA's website, and the data is available for everybody to see. CO2 is rising faster than ever. We're now over 400 parts per million CO2 in our atmosphere. Just to give you an idea of what that means, pre-industrial age, we were at 280 million parts per year CO2 in our atmosphere. We've over 50% increased the amount of CO2 in our atmosphere in less than 100 years. Geologically, that kind of stuff is supposed to take tens of thousands, sometimes millions of years, and there's no sign of it slowing down, which has led to, massive global land temperature increases, massive sea level rising, and this is all from NASA. If we don't change this, there's a dire course that we're all on here. Let's explore the second, massive trend of trying to shift away from fossil fuels. Cleaner versions of fossil fuels. You hear about it all the time, clean gas. Well, how's clean gas really doing? Well, New York actually just banned fracking because of, quote, significant health risks. The health risks are so bad that it was outright banned in New York. And not only that, but governments and states all over the world are talking about banning fracking. And then you got to take into account the methane leaks, okay? There's massive research out there now that shows that these fracking fields are actually leaking way more methane than was reported to being leaked. And this is wiping out the entire carbon emissions benefit that clean gas is supposed to give us. Because unfortunately, methane is 80 times more potent as a greenhouse gas than CO2. So even a slight leak of methane is 80 times more potent. So clearly, if you look at the science and you look at how natural gas actually works, where you've got to pump 100 million gallons of fresh water a day Just in the United States right now, 100 million gallons of fresh water, all these chemicals. California doesn't even have any water, and we're pumping 100 million gallons a day to get gas that doesn't even give us a better CO2 effect. This is not our future. This is a Band-Aid. Then let's look at the final one, which is really the renewable mandates. These are the state mandates for how we're going to basically shift to a renewable economy. Well, how's that doing? In the last Congress, the coal, oil, and gas lobbyists spent over $326 million lobbying Congress. $326 million. And they got back $33.7 billion in subsidies. So if you were to look at the ROI of the lobbyist industry for coal, oil, and gas, they got back a 10,200% return on the money that they spent in Congress. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't exactly trust this group of people to figure out how we're going to healthily and renewably power our future. They don't seem to really be spending their money on renewables. They really seem to be spending their money figuring out how to, drill every last drop of oil there is. So if you want to sum up the problem in its entirety, it's this. The world is currently powered by a centrally controlled, dirty energy grid. And you really need to understand what centrally controlled means. It means we don't control it. It means that these utilities, monopolies, if you will, the power is centralized in the hands of very few people. And that's how the world currently works. Okay? They've been controlling that since 1869 or whatever our little graphic says here. One of our heroes, Buckminster Fuller, said, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, you need to build a new model that makes the old model obsolete." And that is so important that it's worth saying again. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the old model obsolete. And my friends, we are here to tell you today that the new model is here and now. It's not tomorrow, it's here and now. You're going to see it tonight. But before we get there, there's some incredibly important trends that we need to discuss so that you understand how this new model came to be and why it's possible right now. Now, the first trend that we need to discuss is affordability. Solar is on fire, okay? And the reason why solar is on fire is because since 1975, the cost has come down from over $100 per watt to install solar to somewhere today where it's down in the dollar or two range. Okay, that is 100x cost reduction for the energy in less than 40 years. And this graph shows that there's an inverse proportion to where as costs come down for solar, installations rise just as fast. And the reality is that the market today, solar can compete with fossil fuels and actually beat the price of fossil fuels in states all over this country and in countries all over this world. And guess what? That's only the beginning. Every single year, it's going to get better and better and better. We're inside of a new paradigm, a commodity versus technology paradigm, where with commodities, the price increases all the time because they're inherently scarce and they're inherently limited. It's a one-way street. But with technology, the price decreases all the time. Technology gets better every single year. And if you start to look at where the cost is going to be even just a few years from where it is today, you get this graph, which came from Bloomberg's New Energy Finance Department, which clearly forecasts and shows that the world is leaving fossil fuels behind. And we're getting ready to enter an era of unprecedented renewable growth that is driven by the massive cost reductions that have really taken place in the last 3 years. We've seen solar drop even since 2011. It has dropped 80%. So this affordability has given rise to a whole new potential for solar's sort of mainstream expansion. Now, the second trend that you need to be aware of is in-home battery technology. And this is where it gets incredibly exciting when you want to talk about a power shift. So the graph that you're looking at right now is what an average day of energy generation looks like when you're generating solar power. So you'll see that you have this massive peak in the energy that you're producing during the day, and yet this blue line right here is the average energy consumption for a home. Well, most people are away at work during the day or whatever it is, so your energy consumption has a slight peak in the morning demand, and then its biggest peak in your evening demand. So the big problem with solar has been, well, how do you store the energy, right? And right now we're using the grid as a battery. So it's great policy, net metering. The way it works is you put a kilowatt into the grid and you get a kilowatt of value right back out. So it in effect cancels out kilowatt for kilowatt when you have solar power, but we still have to use the grid as a battery. We're still dependent on the central grid. Well, that's about to change. Let's go back here. Because Tesla just released the Powerwall, okay? The Powerwall is the first true battery solution for homeowners to go off the grid entirely. And the way it works is you generate sun during the day. You store that sun in your battery. Your battery can now feed your energy to your lights, your appliances, motors, whatever's needed, day or night, whatever's happening, which allows you to cut your ties to the grid completely if you want. This is a massive paradigm shift that is coming. It's going to be a shift in power like the world has never seen before, where all of a sudden we no longer depend on the centrally controlled system. If the power goes out, big deal. I generate my own power from my rooftop. I store my own power in my own battery, and I can control that price and get it cheaper than any utility can even offer me. That's the revolution that we're at the forefront of right here. So it's incredibly important you're aware of this trend. And the third trend that you need to understand is decentralized platforms, okay? And this is worth explaining a little bit what decentralization is. I think decentralization is one of the biggest macro trends of our time. You've seen platforms like Uber and Airbnb, you know, just disrupt these giant industries in a matter of years, where, you know, Airbnb is now the largest hotel in the world. They've decentralized the hotel industry. Anybody can now put their apartment or put their house or put a room on Airbnb and rent it to whoever they want from all over the world, all through technology. Uber's done the same thing to the cab industry. There's platforms popping up in every single niche that are decentralizing these old industries and making this whole new era of crowdfunding and crowdsourcing possible. We call this the decentralized economy. And if you look at the valuation of these companies, $20 billion for Airbnb, $200 million for Kickstarter, $41 billion for Uber, $3.5 billion for Etsy, $1 billion for Elance. I mean, it's evident that we are at the forefront of a massive trend where decentralization is taking the wealth of these old industries and sharing it back with the people. And Powur is really the first platform and the first company to be decentralizing the old, dirty energy industry, the largest industry on planet Earth. And we are smack dab in the middle of the decentralization of that right now. And you, on this call today, are at the absolute beginning of this entire macro trend. So we're shifting the wealth of energy back to you. And if you take all of these trends and you put them into a context, then what you realize is that we are at the start of a brand new model. And the new model is a decentralized clean energy grid. And this new model is going to shift the power literally back to the people because you now control it from your own rooftop, and it's going to shift the power metaphorically back to the people because we now have the chance to be the stewards of the wealth of the largest industry on planet Earth, which is the energy industry. And I can't tell you how unbelievably excited I get when I think about billions of dollars flowing from these old companies' hands back to people like you, and you using that wealth for what you want to do in life and supporting the things that you value the most, and really just, you know, taking that power shift quite literally. So here's how it works. Here's how we build a new decentralized clean energy model. The first thing you do is you go solar. And you can go solar for zero down. What is causing this entire thing to really happen right now, one of the big reasons why solar has exploded is because there's now zero down financing options where it costs nothing to the end consumer to go solar. You literally sign a piece of paper, and as long as you qualify, you can now produce your own energy at less than what you're currently paying from your utility, and you can lock that rate, effectively saving yourself tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars in some cases over energy inflation for the future. And that's all without spending a dime out of pocket. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why this product is exploding across the country right now, and you're seeing, you know, hundreds of thousands of homeowners signing up to go solar every year. And within the next 36 months, that's going to be millions of homeowners signing up every year to go solar. So the first thing you do is you take your own home off the dirty grid and you put it on the new decentralized clean grid. Next thing you do is you tell your friends and you tell your neighbors. And as you tell your friends and tell your neighbors, you get paid per referral. So we're now shifting the wealth of the energy industry back to you. And guess what? As you become an advocate and you help us build the new grid, because what you'll come to understand is that Powur's mission is to build the new grid that powers the whole planet. As you help us build that new grid, you now have the chance to earn off of all the homes that are going solar throughout your entire network, which this new model gives the power and the profit back to the people from the energy industry. So the next question logically is, how do you participate? So there's two ways to participate. The first is you upgrade your own home to solar. And to do this, we've partnered with the #1 solar company in the world, Solar City. And our partner basically handles everything. What we do is we put you in for a free proposal from Solar City. You hop on the phone with one of their energy consultants. They'll check 4 major criteria. Okay? In order to qualify for zero down solar, there's 4 major criteria that need to be met. Number 1 is that you're the homeowner. Number 2 is that you spend more than $80 a month on electricity. Number 3 is that your home gets the proper sun exposure. And number 4 is that you have a 650 credit score or higher. Now, if you meet those 4 criteria, you qualify for zero down solar. And the number of homes that currently qualify for zero down solar in America is about 48 million homes. So we have about 47,400,000 homes to go. The market is at about 600,000 right now. And the experts anticipate that this is going to occur in give or take about a decade. And what's even better is that from day one, it doesn't make any sense unless you're saving money from day one. So pretty much, you know, guaranteed that you're going to put money back in your pocket without having it cost you anything out of pocket, and you're going to get to produce your own clean energy from your own rooftop. I mean, it's like the biggest no-brainer in the world. The second way that you participate is you help us build the new grid. And to do that, you become an advocate. And once you become an advocate with the Powur platform, we open up a suite of tools to you to help you actually go out there and build the new grid. We help you refer friends of yours who are homeowners. We help you invite new teammates to join your grid, and we show you how to help them refer friends who are homeowners. And all of us together participate in this transfer of billions. And the opportunity here is really staggering. Direct selling is a $160 billion annual industry. So, do the math. There's a lot of people who are going to be interested in joining this. There's 90 million active people in direct selling right now. And frankly, I think this is one of the most innovative and interesting conversations that may have ever even hit the scene of direct selling. And I foresee us going out there and really, capturing the hearts and minds of millions of people who say, darn it, I want to earn my money from something I believe in. I want to have the chance to create extraordinary wealth, and I want to participate in building, the new clean energy grid and empowering the world off of, clean energy, because that's something that I will, for the rest of my life, I will look back at that and say, wow, I played a role at one of the most crucial times that humanity needed heroes to step up. I was there, and I played a role shifting the world and creating a whole new paradigm. I mean, I haven't seen too many things where the wealth potential was as matched with the meaning potential, and you get all of that as an advocate. So those are the two ways that you participate. And it's really important that we take a moment to sort of digest this graph right here, because what you're looking at is the clean energy adoption curve. And clean energy, like any new idea, follows the same adoption curve. So when the iPhone was put into the marketplace, when computers entered the marketplace, when cars entered the marketplace, anytime a new idea enters the marketplace, it follows this exact same curve. And what you see at the very beginning are the innovators. The only people that signed up for a computer when the first computer hit were the innovators. They were the people who were so far ahead of everybody else, they said, you know what, I've got to have this. I can see it. It's the future. I don't care that it's expensive and junky and can't do anything. This is the future. I want it. So the innovators sign up, and it typically takes a long time to reach 1% of the population, right? It could take a while. And eventually, things keep progressing, and all of a sudden, the early adopters show up. And people realize, well, this is an idea whose time has come in some way, and, they're the early adopters. They want to be at the forefront. And so they start to show up, and this is usually about, 1 to 5% of the population, give or take. And then, once you've hit a certain critical mass, and it's somewhere around 5% or 10% of the population, that idea gets adopted as fast as it took to get to just 1% or 2% or 3%. And the idea rockets up to 50% of the population adopts the idea. And then even the late majority, that's called the early majority, is somewhere around 40 to 50% of the population. And the late majority is somewhere around the second half, 50% to 85 or 90% of the population. And they even adopt in the same time period that it took the early majority to adopt. And then you have your laggards, okay? That's the bottom 10%, the bottom 15%. Those are people kind of like my dad, right? He just got a smartphone, like last month, you know what I mean? So this is the way that every idea really gets adopted. And if you look at where we are right now in solar, we are smack dab. A lot of people have pinpointed that the year 2015 really is marking the year that we're sort of starting to exit the early adopter phase and head into the early majority phase. And certainly you see that in California, which is one of the largest solar markets in the world. Everybody's been pitched on solar out here. So many people are starting to become familiar with it. And what's really happening is we're just waiting for the idea to really catch. And once people get it, they get that this is just the new way to get your energy. It's the cheaper, cleaner, better way to get energy in every single way. There's not one way that it's not better to get your energy. as soon as that idea grasps hold around 5 to 10% of the population, we are going to see an exponential growth curve, okay? And it's going to go from 10% up to 50% as fast as it got there, and then it's going to go down to 85% as fast as it got there, which is going to allow us to reach our goal of putting 2 million homes on solar over the next decade and shift billions of dollars of wealth back to our advocates who help us accomplish this mission. So until then, because we recognize that there's a lot of trends taking place here, every single person that goes solar accelerates us towards that tipping point, accelerates us to that inflection point that the whole industry is waiting for, which we don't know if it's going to hit around 2017. We don't know if it's going to be 2018. We don't know if it's going to be 19, but we know that it's coming, and it's not far away. And once we hit that 5 or 10%, whatever it is, boom, we hit that inflection point. Every home that goes solar till then is accelerating us to that point. And that's why we're also putting $5 out of every home that signs up to go solar from Powur into an impact fund. And the purpose of this impact fund is to support awareness campaigns that accelerate this tipping point and sort of help to spread this message so that really we're creating a more globally aware, globally conscious society. People really get that we have to change from how we're currently producing our energy and what the costs are and what the consequences are if we don't. And all of this to help accelerate the tipping point that's going to launch solar into the massive mainstream. And so we're proud to announce our first partnership with our impact fund with the Pachamama Alliance. And the Pachamama Alliance is an absolutely incredible organization that has developed a symposium called the Awaken the Dreamer, Change the Dream Symposium. This is a 4-hour event. It's a half-day event that anyone can take and participate in, which is one of the most life-changing events I could ever recommend you to take. I took the symposium 5 years ago, and Pachamama has played a major role in my life personally, even for why Powur exists. Pachamama has helped guide this vision and played a role in making sure that I spend my life and my energy and my life's work really committed to making sure that this work gets done and that the world shifts from dirty energy to clean energy. So I don't have enough good things to say about Pachamama Alliance. I recommend you look them up as an organization and take their symposium and everything. But $5 of every home we put on solar is currently going into this impact fund. Now, in closing, before I shift the presentation back to Robert, and we talk about some specifics of what we're really looking for from you during our beta phase and how you can play an epic role in helping this entire thing come to fruition, because it's not one person, guys. This is not one person. I mean, if you're really following what we're sharing tonight, this is not one person. This is a movement. This is something that's going to take all of us uniting together in a massive way to combine our talents, our energy, and our efforts to go shift the wealth and power of the world back to the people and us and create a much better world for all. So I just want to make that clear that this is something that is, it's all of us. It's not one of us. And before I shift the presentation back to Robert, give the presentation back to Robert to explain what we're looking for in beta and how you can really help us right now and add value to the Powur mission right now. I want to just show you this graph. And this was the pre-fossil era, okay, around the year 1800. And no wealth existed in the fossil fuel industry back before oil was discovered. And if you fast forward to today, it's a $6 trillion annual industry. So $6 trillion every year changes hands because of this industry today. And what I want you to understand and really get is that we are on the cusp of the next great energy era. And there will be a before solar energy, where it's year 1970, There was $0 in wealth that existed in the solar entrepreneurs and the people who made that possible. And after solar, okay, after this whole scenario that I just described to you, after the trends all come to fruition, now that you see the big picture, the unavoidable future that we're heading towards here, where fossil fuels are being replaced. It's just a matter of how fast. There will be, estimates are right now by 2035, the solar industry is going to be a $5 trillion a year industry. And the bulk of all of that growth, we're less than, what are we, 1% installed right now? All of that is to come. So we are at the absolute forefront of this entire trend of one of the greatest wealth transfers that we'll see in our lifetime. So Powur is truly your opportunity to participate in the largest and fastest wealth transfer maybe in history by helping us build the new decentralized clean energy grid. And so, my friends, all I have to say is join the movement. And at this point, you can head over to www.powur.com/beta. So let me just make sure that this is live right now. Powur.com/beta. Hold on one second.
Jonathan, while you're checking that out, why don't you transfer the screen over to me, and I can.
Yeah, this is actually, before we actually cover how to sign up for beta, it'd be great for you to do your training on beta, and then we'll talk about how everybody actually goes about signing up to be a part of Powur's beta.
Okay, could you switch the screen so they see my screen?
Coming right up, my friend.
All right, tell me when it's done.
Thank you. By the way, thank you all for being here, and thank you for listening to our first presentation for how we tell our story.
Thank you, Mr. Bud, and thank you for sharing that whole vision and what we're doing. I don't know about you guys, but I've had a dream of this for a decade now, and to have it actually happening is really exciting. So, why isn't that advancing? Okay, there we go. Let me get this out of my way so I can read my own slides. So here's the big idea in 2029 words. Okay, the greatest transfer of wealth in history is happening right now, from the fossil fuel industry to clean energy entrepreneurs like you. And Powur decentralizes both energy production and wealth creation. Now, this is from UBS Bank. They said electricity markets will be turned upside down within the next 10 to 20 years, driven by solar and battery. Now, whenever you have a major shift, you follow the money. UBS Bank is the largest privately held bank in the world, and that's what they're saying the future is. Now, why us? What makes us special? Okay, referral marketing is the #1 source of customer acquisition for solar. Powur, we've done this before. Okay, I've been here. Jonathan's built things like this on a huge scale. And the real key, though, is Powur is modeled on nature, it's supported by technology, and it's fueled by sunlight. If you look at nature, it's diversified. If you look at what man does, we do monoculture. Okay, nature is diverse. That's what we're doing by decentralizing the production of wealth and the production of energy. But the main thing is the technology. Okay, this is what's been put together over the last 21 months. We have a crack team up in Portland, Oregon of some of the best developers in the world. And the software is just, it'll knock your socks off. When you get back there, when it's fully connected, and you're able to see, you feel like you're part of a Fortune 10 company, and it's your business. That's the beauty about it. We'll serve up your top producers. You don't have to dig through your genealogy and try to find who's really selling. Our algorithm will deliver that directly to you. The more you dig into this, the more impressed you're going to be. Now here's the timelines on beta. Okay, we just finished our alpha phase. We hand selected 20 people. We put in about 100 leads just to make sure the integration was all working. Now today we're launching beta. Beta's going to start with 200 people in phase 1. Okay, we're going to continue to test the system. We'll refine the training. We'll get everything tied in, the APIs with SolarCity. And the thing to understand with SolarCity, we are the only company that has a direct API integration. Now, what that means to you is if you're with your potential customer, you input their information, you click submit, they get a phone call within 10 minutes from SolarCity. You could be standing right there with them. Then in your back office, it'll immediately show initial phone call completed. When they complete the next stage, the initial visit completed. Every one of the steps that gets to the installation is instantaneously reflected in your dashboard. Now, the important thing about this is solar takes time. Okay, it's not an instant sale. So most other companies, you give a lead, and it's literally a black hole. You have no idea what happened until you find out either it worked or it didn't, and you get paid or you don't. With us, you get updated every step along the process, so you feel like you're in control. And then the next phase is we do our official launch, our big launch, where everybody can sign up. This first part, it's going to be controlled. There's only going to be 200 of you, and then 1,000 of you. And then we'll open it up on a much larger scale.
Yeah, and just to quickly talk about these timelines too, Rob, you know, a big part of what we're looking for in beta, you know, is we want to test these systems. You know, we're going to learn so much over the next 60 days. We've already learned so much in the 30 days just with our alpha phase. 20 people taught us a tremendous amount. And the goal of beta is really to refine the product and refine the message and refine the story and refine the opportunity such that when we open our doors for business in August or September, around there, and it's like full on, game on, let's go to town and put this in front of thousands to millions of people, there's nothing to stop us from that level of scale. You know, we've really kind of figured it all out beforehand. So you play a really critical role. If you're one of our beta members, you should feel proud of that and really inspired by the difference that you can make in helping make this happen.
Absolutely. So the type of people we're looking for right now, okay, you're deeply committed to creating a future powered by light. You're passionate about your own personal growth and helping create a better world. Okay, we're looking for the right cultural fit. If you're just in this to make a quick dollar, this is not the right company for you. We are a long-term vision. And you need to understand, it took us a century to get here. It'll take us a decade to make this full shift. Now, that doesn't mean you won't make money along the process, but this is not a short-term company. We are investing for the long term here, and that's the type of people we really want. Now, understand that Powur is a vehicle to your own success. It's your business. We're partners in this evolution, and that's the way we want you to see it. We want you to work with and say, hey, this is what I need to succeed. These are the tools. We will provide as much as we can, but we need your feedback also, and that's what beta is all about. Now, if you're selected to join beta, you make a personal commitment. You're saying, yes, I'm raising my hand. I want to be part of this. And you're committed that you're going to enroll a minimum of 5 leads and take them all the way through the discovery call. Okay, this is how we test our system. You're going to complete the certification course. Okay, that's $149. It's normally $199. We're giving you a discount because we want your feedback. We want you to tell us, hey, this really worked. This felt kind of, this wasn't as effective. We want to know what works for you, and then help us co-create the best company possible. Okay, we're all in this together. Whoops, my screen just went away. Oh, here we go, hold on. Okay, now your benefits during beta. You're part of the ground floor, okay, backed by a $5 billion company in the solar industry, which is the fastest growing industry out there. Okay, you get $50 off of your certification, but the big thing is no one will ever again have the opportunity to be part of the first 200 people in Powur. That's what's before you right now.
And one other thing to say, and this might be one of the most important things to say, and you know, consider this a training too. You know, during beta, we're probably going to continue to do events like this. We're going to let you start to invite people who you're thinking, man, you know, my friend would really love to see this, or I know a couple people to go solar, or whatever it is. You know, we're going to do events like this consistently every week now. and you'll be able to invite people back and really start to build your team and get things going. And we're going to use these events to obviously, tell people what Powur is all about, and what this opportunity is all about, and what the opportunity is in front of all of us. And we also want to use these events to train, right? So we all really start to get versed in the training and in the practices that are going to allow us to succeed at this business and at Powur at the highest level. And so at the stage that we're at right now in our company, which is really, we're looking for foundational leadership, right? That's what we're looking for, foundational leadership. We want people that we can rely on. We want people that have long-term vision, who can think a decade from now and say, man, where do I want to be? What if I built a business in the distribution of solar a decade ago? As that wealth shifted, as billions of dollars shifted, how much of that would I have captured? We want people starting to think like that. We want people who are willing to work their butts off, okay? I'm a hard worker. Robert is a hard worker. We're not the type of entrepreneurs where we're out there to pitch like, hey, sit and do nothing all day and make money. I don't care about that. I want people who are willing to work and go out and change the world. This world isn't going to change itself. It takes us to change it. And so, we want to create a culture first and foremost. That's what we're interested in. Because the opportunity for Powur is not just a wealth, it's not just a meaning, it's actually to be a part of something. It's actually to be involved in a community, a culture that changes our own life, that enriches us, that causes us to grow and develop. And that's the type of culture that we're building and that we're creating. And it's very important to us that at this foundational stage, that we all sort of align on that culture, right? Imagine if we created, the Chicago Bulls, or the best teams out there. They're just so lockstep. And Steve Jobs really said it best. When he talked about companies don't change the world. Cultures change the world. And what Apple did was they built a culture. Apple didn't build a product. They built a culture that attracted all of the different thinkers and the visionaries and the artists, and they took that talent and they merged it into a company that changed the face of the planet. And Elon Musk is doing the same thing with Tesla and SpaceX and Solar City, and we're now a part of that. We're part of that whole camp. And Powur has the ability to offer unique value that isn't being offered to that camp right now. We can play an incredibly unique role in the whole distribution side of this business. And I think that what's going to differentiate us more than anything is the culture that we build. And so, in this phase, what I would ask of all of you is that you really take the time, if you want to join Powur's Beta, to get versed in our culture, understand the things that influence us, and understand, why we exist. Why do we exist? Why does this even matter? Why companies change the world? We're not a what company. We're not a when company. We're not a how company. We are a why company. And it's probably because we're why people. And so that's who we want to work with. So I just want to throw out there the importance of culture and in this early foundational phase.
All right. Well, this is the last slide. You probably had time to read it there. So here's the bottom line. The direct sales industry is huge. Most of the companies are 30, 40 years old that have reached $1 billion in sales. And you got Ambit Energy and Ignite, like Jonathan talked about. They did it in less than 10 years. Powur, the difference is we're focused on the clean energy market. And we think that's going to do more because it's not just about making money. It's about creating the world our grandchildren are going to thank us for. And that gets me excited. So you can apply to Beta right now. Jonathan, is the link up?
Nope. They're working on pushing the production live as we speak.
Okay, well, as soon as we're done, you can go to that link that Jonathan gave you. It's powur.com/beta. It'll be up soon. And Jonathan, I'll just pass it back to you.
Sounds good, my friend. So the one thing that I'll say about beta, we've got an application process. So what we ask you to do is, and write this link down. It'll be pushed up within the next couple minutes here. The team is just making a bunch of big updates to the whole site, and it's a big platform. Powur has not been a little platform. We've invested close to $1 million in this technology so far, and I'm really excited for you guys actually to log in and get access to your dashboard, and you're just going to see this thing come into life so much over the next 60 days, new features constantly, all sorts of cool new stuff. So they're pushing that link up right now, but I want you to write it down. It's powur.com, powur.com/beta, BETA. And when you get there, we ask you a couple questions because we just want to learn a little bit more about you and why you want to participate in beta. You're going to put the name of the person who referred you to this webinar, and we're going to review the applications, and we'll be getting back to you within the next 24 to 48 hours if you're accepted, and we'll give you your login, all your credentials so that you can log in, and you'll basically be good to go with Powur. We'll plug you into our system here. We'll get you invited to our Facebook group and some of our other training lists, etc., things like that. So that's the process. That's how it's going to work. I'll talk a little bit more about that. We are so we're in the process right now of also allowing you to invite more people to Powur. Next time we do one of these events, feel free to invite some people that you want to see this. But the way that it's working is, we're going to put people on a waiting list and sort of sequentially roll out. So we want to stop in June somewhere around 200 people really participating in beta, and then everybody else will go on the waiting list. So we'll still accept applications, and then when we open up in July, the plan is to really let a lot more people in July to participate in beta. So that's how the rollout's going to work. You can still invite whoever you want in the meantime. They may be on a waiting list for a little while to get into beta, but we really encourage all of you who are super excited about this to sign up for beta. Be enthusiastic. Let's go out there in the month of June. Great month for solar. Let's talk to homeowners. Let's start to tell our story. Let's go start to change the world and build the new, clean, renewable grid. That's what we came here to do. So with that said, I'm actually going to pull up a couple questions because I see that we've got some good questions here. So let me get this question box open, and I'll take some time. If you don't see the question box, it's down in the right, and you can just enter in any question you want down there. So let me just sort of get caught up to speed because there's a bunch. So there's so many good questions here. All right, let me know. Can we apply this on a global scale? Well, presentation is big now. I'm going to take this. Okay, we'll start here with Karen. Oh, and by the way, the guys just told me that powur.com/beta is live. So if you go to, and Vanessa or Robert, maybe you want to drop this link in the chat box so that everybody can just go click.
We got it.
Hold on. Yep, yeah. Let me make sure you got the proper link. Robert, I'll shoot that over to you right now. I'll shoot it over to both of you. This is the full link, and you can pop that in the chat box, and you guys can go over there and submit your application for beta. There's 161 people on the call right now, so you have a pretty good shot as long as that link isn't being shared with a lot of people who aren't on the call. You have a pretty good shot at making it in our beta for June right now if you go over there and submit. And trust me, I think you're going to want to do that. Getting a month head start on everybody else is definitely going to help get you trained better and much more positioned when we open up to 1,000 people in July. So I would definitely head over to powur.com/beta, submit your application. So just to answer these questions here, if Solar City isn't in our state yet, are there going to be opportunities to be a part of it? Fantastic question, Karen. So here's how it currently works. Solar City is in 19 states in the U.S. So we can install solar in 19 states. Now, in some of those states, and we cover this in our training, it's geographically limited. So, for example, in Colorado, Solar City is not going to drive out to the middle of Colorado, 8 hours away from population to install a panel. So it's in the Denver, Boulder area. It's in the population dense areas. Okay, that's where solar basically is right now. We don't cover most of the Midwest. The Midwest has really cheap energy and is pretty population scarce. So the Midwest is really not online. But if you look at the 19 states we cover, it's actually around 80% of the U.S. population. So we're currently covering the entire West Coast, basically, California, obviously, Arizona, New Mexico, Albuquerque. We cover Nevada, Oregon. We cover Portland area, all up there. We cover Colorado, Denver, Boulder. And then it really goes over to the Northeast. So all of New England is actually coming online this summer. So New Hampshire just came online last month. Vermont is coming online in June, but you didn't hear that from me. And then Rhode Island is very soon on the heels after that. So those are all the states we're installing solar. You don't have to live in one of those states to be an advocate. You can be an advocate and live in an out-of-service territory. That's fine. Eventually, your territory is going to come online, so you can install solar on your own home if you live in an out-of-state or out-of-service territory. But you can be an advocate and refer homeowners, neighbors, friends, no matter where they live. So that should answer your question. Yes, Paul. This presentation is being recorded, and we will make it available. Can we apply this on a global scale? Steve Habenmacher, I hope that's how to pronounce your last name. Absolutely. This is an international model. Right now, it is just U.S. focused, but there's absolutely no doubt that we will go international. I'll tell you right now, it's not even on the agenda of the national solar companies like Solar City and some of the other big ones, because the market opportunity in the U.S. is so phenomenally large. It's so mind-bogglingly large. I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars every single year. It's basically becoming the new clean utility, right? Owning the future energy bills for decades. That's a huge opportunity. So, I think the opportunity is so darn big, nobody's even focusing on the international markets right now. I think it's probably going to be about a 5-year run, 5 to 10-year run maybe, where you're going to see the United States go solar, those 48 million homes we talked about. And sometime in that, decade, the companies will probably start looking at the emerging markets. But a lot of, the emerging markets, things we need for them to really come online are still coming into existence. Still working out the financing models. There's a real sort of maturation that needs to happen for solar. This has not been a slow process. I mean, even to get where we are today, solar's 40 years in the making. And only in the last few years have you seen the financial markets mature to where they now look at solar as its own asset class. You're having, Goldman Sachs and these giant institutions, Google, invest billions and billions of dollars in funding, putting all these panels on people's homes. That needs to be in place. You got to have access to that kind of capital. You have to have installation capacity in place. That's another question here, and that takes a long time. You have to have economies of scale. I mean, it's a fascinating conversation the more that you dig into it, and it's super fun. It's such a fun business. I can tell you guys that just from experience. I've never had more fun in my life than being a part of this business. But definitely Powur's ambitions are international, and it's just a matter of time. We're also not going to be constrained to just solar. Solar is the very clear, you'd be almost insane to focus on anything but solar right now. But Powur's mission is to really shift the world off of fossil fuels. And there's a lot of components of that. If you look at the two biggest carbon pollution sectors on the planet right now, you're talking about energy and transportation. If you change energy and transportation, you eradicate 60% of global carbon emissions. And I think, we're already starting to see it. The technology is certainly here, there's going to be a massive shift towards electric vehicles and renewable energy over the next decade. We plan to have our hands in all of that, and obviously our partnership with Solar City has set us up, to have access to many of the most innovative products coming to market, including electric vehicles, including energy efficiency. So Powur is really building, a nationwide and worldwide distribution force for these types of products, and that's really what we're doing. However, if we know all the people, we answered that. Can we do it if we don't? Our children? Yes, I agree with you. Corporate question: when are you doing this webinar again? So once you sign up to be an advocate, you'll be on our email list, and we will notify everybody about all the upcoming webinars. We'll also probably systemize a call schedule from this point forward. We may even just lock in Monday night. Every Monday night at 5 p.m. We're going to do a Powur event that we bring our friends back to start to build the movement required to make this happen. So we'll follow up with you once you're in beta. Susie and whoever invited you here can also follow up with you on that. What is the certification we are working towards with the course? Great question, Sharon. So the certification course, we have 3 big things that we want the certification course to accomplish right now. The first big thing is we want a person who's highly efficient at talking about solar energy, right? You can share and refer your friends and neighbors and people you meet to go solar. So, we want people who are educated about solar in the space. Second, we want people who are educated about referring the opportunity to others and actually getting out there and building a team and building a grid. So those are probably two of the most important areas, is that you walk away from the certification highly effective at referring solar and highly effective at building a team. And the third thing we really want is for people to become highly versed in our culture. We want people to really get what is Powur about and really take ownership of the culture, because we think that, more than even just this being amazing business, we want to create new global citizens. As a society, we all elevate our game, and it's almost like we've lost connection to what it means to be a true citizen. And a citizen, cares deeply about the world they live in. They care deeply about the world we're leaving to future generations. We care deeply about governance and decisions that affect the future of our whole species. I mean, that's citizenship. And so, we would like to start to cultivate again, a sort of a citizenry, if you will. Will our marketing model be similar to Ambit? Not really, Tom. I think Powur is in a category of its own. If you really look at what we've done, we've merged technology with solar energy and direct selling, with Solar City and direct selling all into one, and we're kind of a whole new category. I think we are a platform to really decentralize the energy industry and shift billions of dollars of wealth back to the hands of our advocates. Can you become an advocate if you don't own your own home? Yes, Jacqueline, you can become an advocate if you don't own your own home. That's okay. Can I get a transcript of this sheet as well, so to gauge in Powur Beta? Yes, Steve, we'll send out an email to this. You have said that Solar City can scale. Talk more about that. The production installation will be the choke point. Jim Christopherson. Yeah, that's a fantastic point, Jim. There's no doubt about it. I don't believe that solar was ready for direct sales until very recently. The potential of our model, if you look at companies at scale, they're doing tens of thousands of customers a month. That's a lot of homes that are installing solar every month. And the reason why Solar City is so ahead of everyone else, why they're 40% of all the market share, is because they took visionary action steps and major risks when everybody else was still trying to play it safe. And what that means is they're a fully vertically integrated solar company, meaning that they control the installation, they control the finance, they control the marketing, the ops. They're even now entering into the manufacturing business. So Solar City has over 10,000 full-time employees right now. They're adding close to 1,000 new employees every month. And that's simply a workforce that is tough to compete with. It is an awful lot of manpower. And, they've really got installation down. Their bottleneck right now is not installation, it's lead gen. They need more demand. They need more leads. So, they're installing 15 to 20,000 homes a month right now, and they have the capacity to do a multiple beyond that. And that's why they're such a great partner for us. Okay, I'm going to answer a couple more questions here, guys, and then we're going to get off at 6:15. And in the future, we'll probably keep these events even shorter. We'll keep the story to 30 minutes, probably do a 5 to 10 minute training and 5 minutes of questions, so we're all off in 45 minutes. But seeing as this was our first one ever, there's a lot of excitement. It makes sense to do a little bit more training and really talk about some of this stuff. Okay, so we've already answered the restriction to certain states. We're in 19 states. You can also get all of this. Oh, by the way, guys, this is probably a great time to announce that Powur.com is live. So you can go to Powur, Powur.com. It's live right now. It's got all of our most recent videos that we just finished producing to tell our story. The whole site is done, so you can go to Powur.com. You could even share Powur.com with other people that you want to tell this about. And the website does a fantastic job answering a lot of questions. We really have used the web and design to tell our story in a new way. There's FAQs that talk all about, a lot of the questions that everybody's asking is covered in FAQs. So I would go over to Powur.com and check out the FAQs if you want to just see the map of all the states. Have you formalized the comp plan at this point? Absolutely, Glenn. Let's have the comp plan discussion offline or on another training or with the person who referred you, and happy to show you what we've cooked up. Mama Robin, cannot wait to be spreading the light. Yes, we love you so much. Can't wait to partner with you to spread the light. How is the rollout going in Texas? Right now we are live in Dallas, so the whole Dallas area is online. And I think Texas is going to be expanding from there. If you're in Florida, Solar City is not currently in Florida, so you can't put your own home on solar, but you can refer other people who are on solar or to go solar if they're in one of our service territories. Noel is asking what happens if someone's roof needs to be repaired after installation. Noel, I think Noel. That's a great question that Solar City's team can handle. That's the type of question that you ask the energy consultant at Solar City, and I know that they have fully warranty and fully cover everything about their product. So basically, when a homeowner goes solar with us, they have zero worries. It's maintained, it's insured, it's monitored, it's repaired. All of it is basically covered in the contract. Okay, so a few more questions. Oh wow, we're only at 6 o'clock. I'm 15 minutes behind. You guys have way more questions than I have. We have time to answer here, so let me just pick a couple more hard ones. Do you guys see any popping out, Robert or Vanessa? Do you see any questions really popping out at you in the last minute or two we have here?
I actually don't see the questions, Jonathan.
If you click the questions box.
Yeah, no, I did. For some reason, I'm a presenter but not an organizer, so I don't see them.
Oh, okay. All right, we can tweak that next time. And already beta should be up, guys. So your thing might be cached if you went to Powur.com/beta. It might have cached, or it might be the old one. So just try to hit a shift refresh on that or whatever. It's live. People are people are signing up, so it's just the time that it's taking your system to populate or something. So just keep going to powur.com/beta, and it'll pop up. And then,
I see no additional questions, Jonathan.
yeah, I'm seeing a lot of similar ones, and then the comp plan we'll discuss later. And then Steve is saying Powur is the Salesforce for Solar City. That's why they love us, and that's exactly right, Steve. You hit the nail on the head. We're getting to really be the Salesforce for the #1 solar company in the world, and we've got a runway to go crush it. So, okay, my friends, we have covered a lot. Take some time to really digest this. This is a epic opportunity that's in front of all of us. And once you say yes, once you say let's go, the game is truly on. And know that you have a support team here that is committed for decades and decades to come in order to serve you, making your business and making what you want come to reality. Because at the end of the day, that's what Powur is about. Powur is a platform so that you can participate in this and really, create your dream life. And you've got a team here that is, committed to giving you the best technology, the best marketing, the best support, the best culture, the best everything that we can muster up to make that happen. So reflect on everything. Get your beta application in, and we will send out an update email soon. And we're really excited for all the new people joining beta, for you to now be part of the Powur platform and playing your role in creating the new clean energy grid that's going to power humanity. So with that said, thank you guys so much, and we'll talk to you next time. Vanessa, Robert, love you guys so much. Thank you, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.